Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Video Geeks. We have a very special guest, rather expert today, Ayushman Shah. We call him Ayush Bro. And we have Video Geeks member with us, Anil Mistry and Harshil Patshala. So how are you guys all? Anil Mistry is currently sharing his screen. I think is showing something on the screen said STP.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm handing over to Anil Mistry. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you all are good. And if you have remembered in the last session of STP, that was the last session, but just to the viewers who are first time on the channel and who are watching this video on the first time, for them, for just to tell them, I have shown you this PPT. So this is the STP that we have seen in the last video. We have seen that this is the first video's content. So basically there were three videos in the STP series. This was the first video where we have seen and understood these three terms. Then yeah, this was it. This was the second video where we have dived deep into the STP and we have understood the working and these many terms. So basically, who invented this protocol, what it contains, what are these terms, port roles, port activity status, timers, and then we have did some practical demo. And in the last video, we have understood these many terms, basically the actual working of STP, and then we have seen some of the enhancements. So this was all about the STP, right? Hopefully, all the members who are watching right now of the Video Geeks, they all are aware about STP, right? That it's a very useful protocol in the networking. So following from that video only, we have I have the topic for the present today, which is port channel. So have you guys uh, like you know about what is port channel or something?
From
Hello.
the name,
Yeah.
it seems to define something from Paul.
I
Yeah.
think it's related to ports which
Port
are used for
communications.
communication.
Yeah. Port is related to that same. Port means the physical ports.
Yes.
Do you relate to some these channels? Okay. No worries. Let me explain you. So this is the introduction. We'll see the problem that have caused the port channel in the picture. Like what is the need of port channel in the networking at first. That we'll see by taking one of the examples from the STP itself. The same content that we have seen in the last video, right? So we'll see why we need STP at the first place. We'll revise what was the need of having STP at the first place, then what was the problem that is still remains, what was the problem that caused STP to like be there, and what is the problem that STP has been creating for so long, and then why we need port channels, and we'll see how to configure it. So before STP, what was happening? Let's say these are three switches connected like this, and you know that there is a loop in the network because of the actual physical connection that in which the switch are connected right now. You can clearly see that there is a one loop, right? So what was happening before STP? So STP is not here in the picture. So assume that STP is not here in the network on all these three devices. So there is no such thing as STP. So now if the packet is initiated from this switch and it is going to this port, let's say what happens. So basically, if this packet will go from this side, then this switch will say that this packet has come on this pad, and yeah, it is a broadcast packet. Let's assume that it is a broadcast packet. So this will process. Oh, it's a broadcast packet. So I need to forward it on all port except the port which like on which the packet has arrived. So this is the port which is connected and up. So this switch will forward this broadcast message to this port, and this switch will say, oh, I've got a broadcast packet and I need to forward it. So this switch will forward the packet on this port, and again this switch will receive the broadcast packet and it will forward it to this port, and that how this packet will remain in the loop forever, because it's a broadcast packet, and there is no such thing as STP. So the loop will remain and network will be congested with this broadcast packet, right? So after the STP,
Yeah.
now that we have, yeah, so after now that we have STP, let's say STP is working, and now you can see this switch has been selected as root, and these are the all the port roles that have assigned after, let's say, STP has been done with the root assignment and port role assignment and all that stuff. So you now say uh, that this link, as this port role is alternate, this D means designated and R means root, because this is connected to root switches. Obviously, to understand how these port roles are assigned and how these root switches are there, you need to understand how STP works and how are these terms related to STP. So for that, I'll recommend that you must go through those 3 videos of STP, right? And for those, I'll provide the link in the description, and also you can go on to videogeeks.net site for the more resources on those stuff. So let's now come to the topic, and let's see what is the effect after we have STP in the network. So these are the port roles that STP has assigned, and now you can see this port is not in the picture because STP has detected that this port is causing a loop, and as this is a root switch, this port will now not be there in the picture. So now let's say this broadcast packet is there. So now switch will forward this packet to this switch, and this switch will process it. It will say, oh, this is a broadcast message, but this port is having a role alternate. So it will not broadcast this packet onto this port. So that's how the loop has been avoided. Or let's consider this switch has forwarded this broadcast message or packet to this switch. So this switch will receive and it will say, oh, I have received the broadcast packet. And it will say, oh, I have designated port. I can forward it to this, uh, let's say, port. And this switch now will forward this packet to this designated port. And on this side, this is the alternate port. So any packet coming on alternate port will be dropped. And that's how, if anywhere packet is going from this side or this side, the loop will be avoided. But this both of the switches will receive the packet. That's because of this packet is broadcast. So that's how the effect of the STP is there in the network. So it has caused this switch to be not used in the network. So you see the problem. What is the problem? Can you guess what is the problem here?
The switch on the bottom is still sending the packet to the switch who will never receive a packet. We are still processing that stream.
Yeah, yeah, that is one of the problems. But other than that, can you see some physical or cost related problem? Like the actual physical cost and the problem at physical layer. So let me tell you. So you can see that we have assume that these switches are very costly, and assume the all ports of these switches are working at 10 gigs. I mean, the bandwidth of each ports in each of these switches are 10 gigs. And we have connected these switches in this manner, and we have connected actual physical link. So because this is having bandwidth of 10 gigs, and still it is not being used. So you assume that we have purchased all of these switches with so much of cost. We have purchased this much of cabling, and still this cable is not being used. Or let's say if it is being used, then also the packet transfer or the stuff that is happening, that is not being received or not being processed on these switches. So then what's the point of having bought these costliest devices and this much of costly physical links? So you understand these are just the three switches, but assume, let's say in the data center, what do we have? Usually in the data center we dual connect the devices. So now let me go through the problem in detail. So you see after the STB we just have these two paths, the bidirectional arrow you can see, right? So now let's just scale up the problem. So let's say this is the actual data center topology. So in the actual data center, they will use a spine leaf kind of structure. So these are spine switches. They will be exposed to the internet, and these switches are leaf switches. So basically, they'll provide connection to the internal devices, right? And they are connected. Usually in the data center, the switches are connected bidirectional, or you can say dual home connection. So basically, two links connected on devices in order to have redundancy as well as the higher bandwidth. You can see these spines are also connected in that manner, and these devices are also connected in that manner. And let's say if the STP is working and this switch is being elected as root switch, so you can see these many links are not in use because of the STP, because of the port roles. So you assume that so you just calculate now, just assume that we have purchased 1 2 3 4 5 6 switches, that much of costly switches, that each port is having 10 gigs of bandwidth, and still these many links are not being used or not being utilized in the topology. So you can calculate. Now let's just calculate. So in the three connections you will have one ideal connection. That means one link is not getting used in the three connected fashion. Now let's say in this topology we have how many links? 1 2 3 4 5 6, then 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14, 14 links. And out of 14 links we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 links are there which is not getting utilized. So you see how much big problem this STP is causing. So then what is the solution? The solution is LAG or LACP. The full form of LAG is link aggregation, and that protocol that is IEEE standardized, that is link aggregation control protocol, which is called LACP. So what is LAG? So lag is like link aggregation, as I have mentioned, and LACP is link aggregation control protocol. So lag, it will basically group multiple physical links to form a logical link. So you see what is the lag. So let's say these two switches are connected in this manner. So STP will detect that this is a loop, and one of these link will be let's say assign such port rows, let's say alternate port rows. So this link will not be used in order to avoid the loop. But if we have grouped these two physical links into one link, so you can consider it as that we have aggregated two physical links to form one logical link, and that is called lag. And STP will not detect these two ports as two physical individual links, but it will detect these two physical links as one logical link that is connected to both of these switches. And that way we can trick STP to not detect these two links as two individual links, and it will not now, what you can say, uh, have such port roles that will block one of these links. So that is basically the idea of having lag, link aggregation control protocol, or you can also consider it as a port channel. This is the port channel. So what are the things that is required? So will this is a very introduction kind of thing. I will be bringing more videos on the port channels, but let's just, this was the overview that what is the need of LAG, LACP and all that stuff. We'll explore this in much details, but let's just see what are the things that is required. So you see, these are the requirements to configure a port channel, or let's say to have a port channel. So first requirement is like this: grouped port should be connected to same switches. So let's say this is the two links that we want to group. So you see these both links are going from this switch to this switch. So this is valid, you can say, port channel. And what is the example of invalid? Let's say this is the configuration and we want to try group these two links. So you see these two links are from originating from this switch but going to different switches. You can see this link is going to switch this side and this link is going from this to this switches. So we cannot configure ports channel on these two switches, or you can say we cannot configure these two ports to be into same port channel, because they are not going from one switch to another switch only. They are going from one switch to two different switches. So this is not a valid port channel. So these are some of first requirement of the port channel. And now second requirement is same speed and same duplex. So let's say we want to configure these two ports, and these two then these both of the ports, they need to have same speed. Let's say both ports are 10 gigs, then it is okay. Let's say one port is 10 gig and one port is 1 gig, so then that is not good. And same also the same duplex. Let's say both ports are having full duplex, then it is fine. But let's say one port is full duplex and one port is operating on simplex or half duplex, then it is not it is not a valid. So that's because port channel will have internally load balancing that we are not required to configure the load balancing, but it will by default do it on its own, and it uses hashing for that. So for that purpose, it needs to have that both all the ports that are in same port channel, that should be having same speed and same duplex. And the last requirement is same STP and trunk settings. So basically on the switch port you can configure trunk, or you can configure VLAN, and you can also configure some of the STP settings. So let's say both of the ports, they belong to different VLAN. Let's say VLAN 1 and this is VLAN 100, then it is not possible to group them in the one single port channel. Also, let's say one port is operating on some MSTP 0 and another port is operating on MSTP 1. So that is not, so basically they both ports needs to belong to one same spanning tree protocol, or you can say spanning tree instance. So these are some of the requirements to configure a port channel. And what are the LSCP modes, link aggregation control protocol, or you can say port channel modes that we can configure on the port? That goes like on mode, you can also call it as static mode, or you can also call it as passive mode. And another one is LSCP mode or dynamic mode, or you can also call it as active mode. So basically, let me explain you. When let's say these ports are configured on same port channel, then they will exchange some kind of packets. That will explain in some another video or next video most probably. So considering that the thing that we have mentioned, so let's say passive and active. So let's say we have configured as active port channel on this side, on this switch, and on this side we have configured passive. Then they will not communicate packets and they will not form a port channel. To form a port channel, one of this side of switches must be configured with the LSCP mode active. On any of the side, one side should be active. If both of the sides have been configured port channel mode, let's say active, then it's fine. But let's say both of the side has been configured with the passive, then it will not be good for the port channel, because it will not form port channel. So basically what happens is, let's say we have configured passive mode, then it will not initiate the packet, or you can say the packet that is needed to be exchanged for forming a port channel. But if it is configured with the active mode, then it will start exchanging packet and it will start saying that, oh, I want to configure this port channel. Let's just be in this port channel. So it will start with, so basically active mode means I'll start the communication first, and passive mode is I'll wait for the communication to be initiated by someone else first. So you can consider this is the shy one and this is the extrovert and this is the introvert kind of thing. So these are the modes overviews of LSCP. So this is the basic overview of LSCP. Uh, yeah, so this is the end of the session one, and hopefully we'll see more in the next upcoming videos. But this is the problem that STP has caused, and this is the solution of that. And we'll see more on the port channels, how packets are exchanged or port channel to form a port channel and all that stuff in the upcoming video. So yeah, guys, anyone have any questions?
Hello, Anil. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible. Go on.
Yep. So first of all, great your presentation. And now coming to the question, you said that having the links that are already duplicated, as you see in the photo over here, between two
Yeah,
switches, there are majorly two links at the minimum to have a redundancy. Now,
yeah,
for in terms of data center processing, because I have already worked on a couple of places where like our throughput is more than 2 terabytes a day. So our networking stuff, what we do is we have multiple switches that are interconnected, but we do not use LG just because if we do that, let's say we have the two switches working at 20 gigabit per second, as
okay,
one link is 10 gigabit per second, right? So what
okay,
LSE will do is it will use both the links to transfer my data between the switches, and it will do theoretical max is 20 gigabit, right?
yeah, theoretical max, yeah,
Right? Theoretical max is 20 gigabit. Now, what will happen is, let's say we have a few clients whose data goes through these switches, and this is the only path because we are already doing what we can say is a redundant network with the two links, so we cannot afford to have a speed reduction. Because if
yeah,
the speed is reduced, the number of queries that are processed will reduce because we will have packet drops in the switches ahead, right?
for sure,
So
yeah.
how can we overcome that, or is this not feasible for industries like where I work, or let's say anyone who cannot tolerate speed reduction?
See, if we are talking about speed, what you can say, packet drops and speed reduction. So as far as I know, these port channels are like most common. I have seen many a times that I am also working in the. I have also started my work. I will say I have not more experience, but I have seen some of the escalations that can that comes on everyday basis on the tech teams or other teams. So we talk and we have seen lot. I have seen lots of escalations on port channels or stuff like that. Not the entirely based on port channels, but there are some or big organizations or campus, uh, the small campus like college or stuff, they use port channels. And the let's say some data center kind of stuff, who they are not they cannot afford speed reduction. So LACP is the like most general form or most feasible solution that people uses. But there is one add-on onto LACP which is like MLAG, to configure MLAG. So basically, for MLAG to be configured, the LACP is required. So basically, if LACP is combined with MLAG, so that I'll planning to cover in the upcoming videos, that will cause the least amount of speed reduction as well as the packet drops.
Right, understood. that kind of explains why industry uses that lag protocol.
Yeah, and yeah, so that's basically it from my side. And in the upcoming videos, we'll see what are the packet exchanges and how to configure LSCP and all that stuff. Yeah, any questions, guys?
No question.
Okay, so yeah, thank you guys for listening to me. And also, I would highly likely to say that just go onto this site. I'll just for the viewers, I'll just give the overview that we have this video geek site published. This is the link for this site. You just go on this site and explore. We have lots of stuff included over there, lots of resources. So just go and explore this site. Yeah, so that's it from my side, guys. I hope to see you in the next videos. Till then, keep learning and keep exploring, guys.